Well, being one of the first guys that made a Honda tutorial, I thought it would be time to destroy E-Honda. He's given some people some problems, I think. So we're going to review what to do against the Sumo in hopefully under 10 minutes. So one of Honda's main strategies is to throw out lots and lots of different moves with different frame data with slightly different spaces. This confuses you. Should I press? Should I not? So with a calm mind and some better education, I think we can make some better choices in the Honda match and not let him get away with so much. So, all butt slams are negative on block, but as you can see there's a little gap that opens up when Honda comes down. You can take a turn on every regular butt slam, but what he's trying to do is open up a little space so you push a button and then get punished. So make sure your button can reach him from that distance, otherwise you're going to get punished. A backdash might not be a bad idea either, if you would like. Most characters can actually backdash into a punish. The butt slam is punishable on landing, so keep that in mind. But if he does land close to you, this one is -5. You can take a turn back. So really you have to eyeball the space where Honda lands. EX butt slam's a powerful move. If it lands in front, Honda is plus on block. If it lands behind, Honda is negative. Very simple to remember. He'll usually go for the hands combo if he lands in front, like this. So do not push a button if Honda lands in front of you there. Behind, you should take your turn every time. There's nothing he can do there at all but take that return pressure. Now, there is one more thing to note about EX butt slam when it comes down. It does leave a gap where Honda lands, especially if he lands in front. There's a gap there, and if he does go into the hands, there's also a gap there. Let's slow it down and see here. There's the gap. He cannot throw you or command grab you. And if he does go for the hands, there's a gap. So the point is here, people usually V-reversal in that situation. I'm not sure it's worth it. It might be better just to hold out and keep your trigger. Now while EX butt slam does have throw invincibility on wake up, it does not have hit invincibility on wake up strike. So feel free to pressure Honda every time. He cannot beat you with that move unless you attempt a throw. Honda's defense overall is quite weak on wake up. Now on to Honda's headbutts. They're all negative, ranging from -4 all the way up to -26. Do not think that the ability to punish headbutts was what defines the Honda match. It is not. It's simply a complicated move, but my recommendation would be to find a catch-all situation. Here the example Sagat does crouching medium punch knee every single time. It does not matter the strength of the head. All we're trying to do is make the situation simplified. Now not every character will have a button with a special cancel that can reach Honda, but find a normal that does, and that will just simplify that situation. You'll get your grey health back and reset to neutral. Now EX headbutt does have fireball invincibility, does have armor, but do not let this move dissuade you from throwing fireballs. There is no mix up from Honda and it's minimal damage. Make sure you do have a big punish for it though. Some characters can get dash up punishes. It is not invincible on wake up. You can throw it or you can strike it, so do not be afraid of Honda on wake up. Honda's only wake up option is critical art, and do not think that Hondas will not let this rip. They will. It is their only option sometimes. Now some characters can jump out, some characters can't. You'll have to look at the frame data and see if you have a 46 frame jump any direction will escape the critical art. Some characters unfortunately cannot.
Don't look at me! Don't look at me!
Now on to E-Honda's hands. The light hands are +2 on block, but as we can see here there's a gap that opens up on either hit or block. That's important, and I'll tell you why in a second. The medium hands also does a similar thing. There's a little gap that opens up. That's why, as we'll find out, walking back or backdashing is not the worst option against Honda. The heavy hands is the one that will put him in the mix-up situation, but the heavy hands are -2 on block. It's very important that you recognize when you have blocked heavy hands. Learning the audio cues is very important. He makes a louder sound when he does the heavy hands and they go for longer. So take your turn back on the heavy every time. It's very important. Now, why it's important to not take your turn back on the other versions of hands is he's trying to goad you. into pressing buttons and punishing you. Exactly like this. He opens up that space, you think it's your turn, you get whiff punished. So even though the hands are not point blank plus, they're still extremely dangerous. Be aware of the gaps that Honda opens up. Although not recommended all the time, a backdash after blocking hands isn't a bad option. Honda obviously has options like Headbutt that set up no Oki, so there's no dangers. Just make sure that you don't jump, you may get tagged from the EX butt slam. A backdash here will also avoid that, so not a bad idea to throw in once in a while just to escape that pressure. EX hands works exactly like the heavy hands, it leaves him point blank and extends his combos. Just make sure you take your turn back on block. A lot of people I watch, they just let EX hands fly. You must take your turn back, it's -2. Do not be scared of EX hands on block. Honda has some powerful options at mid-range, but they're all very slow and very negative. This move here is actually -7 on block. If you do block it close, you can punish it. Just be aware, he's trying to set up a very similar spacing trap to the hands. Be aware of this button at max range, even though it is -7, he's trying to get you to fall for that same old trick again. Unfortunately, Honda's been blessed with a Season 1 Nash Dash. Even though it's 20 frames, it is extremely difficult to stop. Just be aware of that forward heavy kick range. He's usually going to try and dash in from max range and start shenanigans. Very difficult to stop, and what makes Honda a threat at mid-range. His EX command grab does not loop. It's not a true loop, you can stop it. Unfortunately, he does have the forward heavy kick, so it puts you in a sort of tough spot there. You can always do the age-old stay down, which will avoid both scenarios, but just remember it does not loop into itself. No Honda tutorial would be complete without his extremely powerful V-Skill 2, one of the best V-Skills in the game. It allows him to cancel any normal into hands and makes Honda's mediocre low and mid-range game extremely threatening. There is one big point here though. Most Hondas use heavy hands to cancel out of the far normals. And remember, there is no change in the frame data on block. An easy way to remember this is if Honda laughs at you, it is your turn to go.
One hit, boom! No holding me back!
That's how I remember. Extremely scary. There is no change in the spaces between the hands on block, it's mostly the same. On hit you get some extra frame advantage, but just remember it's the same data on block. Now one thing to be aware of with Honda's throw game, he has one of the largest throw ranges in the game. That means that your shimmies and your staggers will often get back thrown by Honda by accident. It's my recommendation that you find a heavier button that will space Honda out a little bit more, just to avoid that trap. Now on to Honda's VT1. It's a 2-button headbutt, but a big mistake a lot of people make here is that it's always -4 on block, with a big distance between. I've seen people V-reversal this, you don't need to, it's always minus. Unless obviously he uses the guard crush version, in which he extends his combos. One of the main reasons we don't want to V-reversal this VT1 is because he can defeat it with the headbutt, so be very careful with this move. Don't panic with the VT1 if you're in block stun. Just take your medicine there. Be aware though that unlike regular headbutts, this V-trigger on hit does set up Honda mix-ups, either rise, so be careful not to push buttons when you wake up getting hit from this. Honda's VT2 is extremely powerful. It's an armoured move that takes you to the corner, can be cancelled off of hands. It will defeat single hits, but if you are fast enough and he does it in neutral, it can lose to 2-on-1s. Now Honda has a bit of a gimmick here with the hands on block where he will cancel into the VT2. If you hold up, you will not get hit. It's a true block string. And Sagat will simply, or your character will simply just jump out. You can hold up the whole time, and then if he doesn't do the trigger, you're back to neutral again. So that's a bit of a gimmick from him. Now another reason that this VT2 is extremely powerful, Honda is +2 after the dash once you get thrown in the corner. There is nothing you can do on wake up outside of an invincible reversal. He can also EX command grab you, but it has to be the metered version, so keep an eye on his meter. Unfortunately, we cannot stay down this time because he can also hit on the ground, so a tough spot. And that was your Honda guide in 10 minutes. I hope you learned something. As you can see, Honda is about manipulating the spaces and the frame data, making you unsure of yourself. So hopefully you've got a bit of a clearer head in the Honda match and you can go out and destroy the horde of Daigo followers that are about to hit us. So good luck and I'll see you next time.